welcome to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I am Laura Cotter.
And I'm Sky Orchard.
And we are on week 2 of our holiday break. I have an easy question for you today, Sky. You're going to be so excited about this one. Do you twist or dunk your Oreos?
Twist, eat the cream first, and enjoy the cookie last.
I used to do that as a kid. I realize now I just shove it in my mouth. I don't want to eat just a sad cookie with no cream on it.
But the sad cookie without the cream is sort of the tastiest part of it.
You think the cookie part is tastier than the cream part?
I do.
Oh, we disagree there.
You know what's the best, though? Homemade Oreos with that cream cheese frosting.
I don't know if I've ever had a homemade Oreo.
Oh my gosh, that's gotta change.
Are you offering to make them?
Sure, I will work on that.
All right. Well, I look forward to my homemade Oreos one day. Or if you have a recipe suggestion, you can send it to me and I can make my own.
Yeah, even if I make it free, I'll be texting my mom for the recipe first. So.
Oh, it's your mom's recipe. Okay. I thought it was just like, I don't know, random online recipe you found.
I mean, you can find it on the internet too, but I think she has a specific recipe card with it handwritten down, which I think gives it more authenticity, even if it is from the internet.
It absolutely tastes better. I'm pretty sure my mom's chocolate chip cookie recipe is from Betty Crocker or something, but it tastes better because it's written on a 1980s recipe card. Okay, are you excited to talk about this episode? Because I sure am.
What a show.
Let me do the background and then we'll talk about it because I have so many thoughts. So we are watching Holiday in Handcuffs today. Our tagline for this movie is, "She's bringing home the perfect boyfriend, even if it's a federal offense." The Hulu description is, "A waitress kidnaps a customer to bring him home for Christmas." Did you watch this on Hulu?
I ended up watching it on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where it was at. FYI, when we watch Sabrina Goes to Rome, it's only on YouTube, recorded from broadcast television with all of the commercials in it.
Ooh.
I even checked the libraries to see if I could rent it, and the answer is no. It originally aired December 9th, 2007. This is an ABC Family movie, which shocked the pants off of me. It was directed by Ron Underwood, who is also known for Tremors, City Slickers, Mighty Joe Young, and Grey's Anatomy. Our writer is Sarah Ensley. She wrote some other things, including 293 episodes of The Young and the Restless.
Well, I understand some of the writing choices.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense now. We have a decent actor list. Again, I did not put in anybody who didn't have a named character. So my apologies to those people, but it'd just be too long. First, we have Melissa Joan Hart as Gertrude Trudie Chandler, Mario Lopez as David Martin. Most people know him from Saved by the Bell. He was also on The Bold and the Beautiful for a bit, and he is a host on Access Hollywood. Timothy Bottoms, his character's name is just Dad Chandler on IMDb.
Really?
He does have a name. We do learn it later.
I thought that was you just being snarky.
No, that's IMDb. Lists him as Dad Chandler. He was also in The Last Picture Show, Johnny Got His Gun, The Paper Chase, and Elephant. Marquee Post is Mom Chandler. Again, not me. It's IMDb. She is from There's Something About Mary, Night Court, and the Fall Guy TV series. June Lockhart is Grandma, and she just passed away on October 23rd of 2025. She was from Lost in Space, Lassie, and She-Wolf of London. Kyle Howard is Jake Chandler, and this guy looks so familiar, and I couldn't figure out where I know him from, but I know him from something. It's none of the things I listed, though.
Naturally.
The things he's been in are Orange County, Grosse Pointe, House Arrest, and Baby Geniuses. Vanessa Evigan is Katie Chandler from In My Sleep, In Plain Sight, Social Studies, and Sand Sharks. Which the poster looks like the Jaws poster, but the shark is in sand.
I'd watch it.
Gabrielle Miller is Jessica from Corner Gas, Law & Order SVU, Good Witch, and Once Upon a Time. Layla Alizada is Lucy from the Taken TV series, Jane the Virgin, Shut-Eye, NCIS Los Angeles. Cedric D'Souza is Taj from The Chronicles of Riddick, Earthsea, Once Upon a Time, and Da Vinci's Inquest. Marion Eisman is Mrs. Barber from Everything, Andromeda, Riverdale, and Firefly Lane. Karen Hines is Maria from Man of the Year, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and The Newsroom. Maureen Jones is Barbara from Winona Earp, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV series. And then she has a bunch of English voices for different anime. Marty Hannenberg as Mr. Portnoy. Does he even have a line? I think he had one line, but he gets a name. But the cop does not get a name. So he's down in this list. Also from Winona Earp, Fargo, and Rat Race. And lastly, Benjamin Ayres as Nick from Saving Hope, Suits, Burden of Proof, and Chronicle Mysteries, Helped to Death.
Wow.
Anyway, what were your overall thoughts, Sky?
Honestly, part of me wishes I didn't watch it because it is crazy enough that part of me wants this experience of you just telling me what is happening and me just being like, what the crap that our listeners are gonna get? Because, wow, what a ride.
It is insane. I kind of love it.
It's pretty great.
I made myself some notes. So I didn't want to forget what I was thinking. Like, these are just things that I thought of as it was happening. So first of all, when you go to Hulu, I don't know if Amazon Prime had the same thing, but it had like the holiday and handcuffs. The Holiday Inn part is in the Curls MT font from Windows. And I was like, oh, we're off to a great start. Like, just looking at the font, first of all. Number two, I feel like this is the prequel to Killing the Competition. This character is going to become the mom in that story. And I just want to watch Melissa Joan Hart play a crazy person all the time. She is so good at making her eyes go like big and psycho looking. Like, it's great. And I kind of want to do the rest of our rewatch of Sabrina the Teenage Witch with the mindset that this is a teenager just having severe hallucinations.
Oh.
I think it's going to make some of the bad episodes better. Like, Rudy Kazudi makes so much more sense if it's a schizophrenic hallucination.
That it does.
We'll talk about this as we meet these characters, but I just really wanted more of Grandma and Maria the Maid, and I want to see a spin-off show with just those two getting up to hijinks.
I love Maria the Maid.
Maria the Maid, best. The absolute best. What this movie has made me realize is what I need for the holidays is a movie that is like, for 3/4 of it, it is a stereotypical Hallmark Christmas movie that maybe is along these lines where it's like, oh, somebody's committing a crime, but it's silly and it's cheesy and it's goofy and it's lighthearted and we're going to fall in love. And that's the first 3/4 of the movie. And then the last quarter of the movie, the Lifetime director takes over and it's just a hard left turn into horror. Like,
not a happy ending, or do you want a happy ending?
No, I want it to be dark. I want it to be terrible. Like, I want it to be like everybody ends up dead in the end. And like suddenly, like if this was like, if the first 3/4 of this was told from Trudie's point of view and she saw it as like lighthearted and funny and silly. And then the last quarter was told from David's point of view and it ends up with him getting murdered. Like, that's what I want. But like, I want people to recommend movies like that to me. But I also don't want to know that's what I'm getting going in. I want it to be like a complete shock twist out of nowhere. I feel like that would really scratch the itch for a lot of the Hallmark / true crime fans.
That Venn diagram right there.
If there's a writer out there listening to this, please write it. But I need credit for this idea. I need like a note somewhere in the credits that says like special thanks to Laura and the Something Witchy Pod. Okay, I got that on my system. Do you have any other thoughts besides what I've just spewed?
I'm sure they will come to me as we go along.
We start off in the dead of night with Trudie driving in her car and narrating how she's not crazy.
And anything that starts with the words, I'm not crazy, you just know is bound to be fantastic. Opening line of anything, done, sold.
Yeah. She pulls over when she sees who we eventually come to know is David walking on the side of the road. She tries to convince him to go back to the house. He gives in and gets in the car. He also calls her the devil. 18 hours earlier on December 23rd, Trudie wakes up to her alarm and starts getting ready for the day, including perming her hair like you do in the morning.
Props to her for getting those back curls in solo.
Yeah. She tries to heat up leftover Chinese food, but her stove won't work, so she tries to use a hairdryer instead. Her mother calls her from the rental cabin to check in for Christmas dinner and asks if Nick is still coming with her. Trudie says he is. Trudie's mom keeps talking about Nick, but Trudie needs to go because she has a job interview on December the 23rd. Who's doing interviews on December 23rd?
Capitalism waits for no one.
I don't even think capitalism would do that because not the bosses. The bosses be like, I'm out of town starting December 20th. Best of luck to everybody else. Her dad comes on the phone and gives her a pre-interview pep talk. Trudie's mom tells her to do something with her hair, and Trudie runs off, having forgotten the chemicals on her head.
Which, quick solution, Miss Trudie, is just go and get your hair wet quickly. Have we learned nothing from Legally Blonde about how to get rid of a perm?
She doesn't do that, though.
She does not.
And now Trudie is stuck in traffic when she lets another guy turn in front of her, but then his car gets hit and he calls her a bitch. And that's I was like, whoa, ABC Family!
Why is Trudie the way she is? Well, maybe because of men like this.
Trudie runs into the building for her interview, but she's late and the boss is in with his next interview. Trudie gets a crazy look in her eyes and runs past the receptionist to beg for her interview at the office door, but the boss closes the blinds remotely, which is fancy technology for 2006. Trudie is at a diner where she works and finally takes off her hat, revealing completely ruined hair and a pink first lady-ish dress. She complains to her coworker, whose name I still don't know. I went through this whole movie and didn't catch this girl's name.
It has to be Lucy.
I think it's Lucy. I swear I didn't hear Lucy once, but you never know. She complains to probably Lucy about how she can't go home for Christmas after blowing the interview, but she is bringing Nick to get her family off her back. Her coworker apparently does not like Nick because he was born wealthy.
Her coworker also does not like Taj, the restaurant owner, because she says he would not keep his great-grandfather's gun here if he knew how close I come to killing him every day.
And there was also some joke about her sleeping with Taj.
Oh, yeah.
That I couldn't tell if she was serious or not. And I was like, at that point, I'm like, can't rewind. Hopefully Sky will catch it.
Yeah, it was like a as if sort of joke.
Yeah, I got very confused.
But this is the company Trudie keeps.
Trudie is serving tables when Nick arrives and laughs at her hair. He breaks the news that he's not going to meet her parents. She starts yelling at him in the middle of the restaurant, and he admits he just said he would go so he could sleep with her. Again, I was like, ABC Family, what is happening? This was a Sunday night movie probably that everybody's supposed to watch after dinner. He starts to leave, and Trudie says if he walks out the door, they are over. He kind of laughs and agrees, then leaves. Another man comes in and sits down, then looks at an engagement ring in a box. Trudie takes his order but doesn't pay attention to what he says. She starts disassociating as she stares out at the busy restaurant. She snaps out of it when someone runs into her. Her cell phone rings and it's her mom again, yelling at Trudie, asking if she's trying to ruin Christmas. Trudie, in a trance-like state, says she'll still be there with Nick as she watches the new guy whose order she didn't take. She hangs up from her mom as he walks to the bathroom, but Trudie blocks him. She uses the gun that the diner owner keeps in the restaurant for some reason to take the guy hostage and shoves him outside. Just then, a woman, likely his would-be fiance, shows up looking confused, and she has such a high bump in her hair. I loved all the fashion of this show.
Do we think he was going to propose at that restaurant?
I think he
of
was.
all places, that diner.
And for the two of them being supposedly so fancy, the only way I could buy this is I'm like, maybe this was like first coffee date place.
I guess, but I feel like she's too bougie to accept that as a place for a date.
Maybe it was halfway between their houses and this is where they meet. I don't know. We can't dissect this too closely, Sky. It's going to fall apart too easily. We haven't even gotten to the worst nonsensical parts. Trudie keeps marching the guy outside where he slips on ice and is knocked unconscious. The fiancé rudely asks Lucy where her boyfriend is, but he's not there. Trudie drives with the unconscious man blindfolded and tied up in her passenger seat. And this is where I was like, at least put him in the back seat where he can't maybe wiggle his way free and grab the wheel from you, and you maybe have child locks on the door to keep him secure. You're bad at kidnapping, Trudie. He tries to reason with her, and she threatens him with the gun again.
Some of his reasoning includes pointing out that this plan doesn't seem very well thought out, that he is a man and is stronger than her and might eventually overtake her. And then the lovely line of, you seem like a nice girl, probably nothing a little lithium couldn't fix.
Isn't that true for all of us? He doesn't believe she'll actually shoot him. Just then, Trudie swerves to avoid hitting a skunk, and the gun goes off with the bullet shooting right between his legs. Trudie tells David he needs to pretend to be her boyfriend Nick for her family's Christmas dinner. He refuses to go along with it, and Trudie notices her gas tank is almost empty. She pulls over to a gas station, and David starts memorizing his surroundings. Trudie belatedly puts the blindfold back on him and searches him for a cell phone, but it's back at the diner. Trudie goes into the store to buy gas, alcohol, and beef jerky. The old owner goes outside to pump the gas for her.
How is this ABC Family? This old owner is very, very creepy. He has a lot of as she's in the store. And then he's like, I usually pump the gas for the pretty ladies, all sneeringly grossness.
The owner notices David blindfolded and tied up in the car. Trudie makes an excuse about taking her boyfriend out for a wild weekend in the woods and even explains a little bit what that could mean. But the owner tries to get her to go back inside the store with him. Trudie panics and pumps the gas when the owner comes back out with some complimentary fuzzy handcuffs. Trudie uses them to handcuff David and takes off his blindfold again. Why was the blindfold on, then off, then on, then off again? Doesn't make sense. Okay.
She lets David know that this kidnapping just got a little more professional as she handcuffs him.
Seriously, there is another movie out there that is a Lifetime original movie that is told from his point of view. Trudie is driving again and apologizes to David for yelling at him and accidentally shooting at him. She gives him some beef jerky while she guesses at his background, making up a story about how privileged he probably is. Apparently, she's right.
Vice president of a company his father owns, parents bought his first house, he sails and he plays golf, and is from some sort of Beta Zeta Shmeta fraternity.
She then shares about her sad life. They arrive at the cabin, and Trudie goes inside with her suitcase, leaving David in the car. Trudie's parents greet her and criticize her hair and how she was late for her interview.
Her mom tells her that you look like one of those actresses in a pornographic movie. Trudie is aghast and says, how do you even know what a porn star looks like?
I had a conversation like that with my mom one time. I was in college, I think at least, and we were out shopping, and there's like a shirt or something. And I was like, that looks like a 70s porn star guy shirt. And she was like, how would you know what that looks? I'm like, everybody kind of has an image of what that. I'm like, I haven't watched 70s porn. Everybody kind of knows what that would look like. Trudie warns her parents that sometimes Nick pretends to be kidnapped when he's uncomfortable and to just laugh along when he says that. You know, that old social anxiety tick. Trudie gets David from the car and her parents give him a warm welcome. He immediately tries to tell them about how Trudie kidnapped him, but they just laugh. He tries again to tell them that Trudie is a crazy criminal, but they just laugh some more and offer him eggnog. He is frustrated, but goes to have a seat. In the kitchen, Trudie asks her mom if she can be keymaster. Again, you are kidnapped by a crazy woman. Her family seems crazy. They use the word keymaster.
Isolated in the woods.
This just gets darker and darker. Her mom hands Trudie a bag of keys that were inside the freezer for some reason. David leaves the cabin and tries to get into Trudie's parents' car, but it's locked. He yells into the wilderness, but there's no one else around. Defeated, he goes back inside. He asks Trudie's dad to use the phone, but there's no phone in the house. He asks for a cell phone, but the dad says the keymaster has control of the phone. More family members arrive, including another daughter that the mom fawns over and a brother that tries to roughhouse with Trudie. David explodes and again says he was kidnapped, but everyone just laughs. He takes Jake, the brother, off to the side to try and reason with him, but the brother just laughs again. Nobody takes this man seriously.
He's like, your sister's a psychopath, and Jake's like, yeah, I know.
Mom is showing everyone to their rooms, but Trudie is insistent that she sleeps in the same room as her boyfriend. We switch scenes to Trudie and David sleeping in bunk beds with him still yelling at her. She informs him that she's hidden all the keys and cell phones, so he might as well calm down.
He tells her, you'd better get used to these bunk beds because that's what you'll be sharing with your cellmates Mad Dog and Roz.
By the way, did you know where the keys were hidden the whole time?
No.
Oh, I knew. Because like in the background when they're having this conversation, you can see the bear head on the wall. Well, that's where they're going to put them. David sneaks downstairs when Trudie is asleep to look for the keys. He gives up and goes outside, determined to look for a neighbor. We come back to the very first scene with David walking on the road and Trudie drives up beside him. They get back to the house and David silently gets out of the car. The next morning, Trudie's cell phone rings because she didn't give hers up, and she goes outside to answer it. It's Lucy from the diner asking if she's okay. Trudie says she had a little nervous breakdown and she did something crazy. David happens to walk past the window and sees Trudie on the phone. He tries to go outside to get it, but her mom stops him and has him go get breakfast. Trudie finishes explaining everything to Lucy as her mom feeds David breakfast. Trudie comes back in and David asks if he can borrow her phone to call the diner since he left his suitcase there. He calls her out for having her phone down her shirt and her mom scolds her for not putting it away. The mom goes to find some new clothes for David.
Richard always brings a few things he thinks he'll be able to fit into if he loses 10 pounds.
The most uncomfortable part of this movie is the mom and the dad. For a movie that involves a kidnapping. David starts chasing Trudie around for the phone. Trudie grabs a beef tenderizer and smashes the phone to bits, then throws them away just as her mom comes back in the room with new clothes. Trudie's mom is searching the kitchen for something as everyone else eats breakfast. David comes in wearing the borrowed clothes, and Jake says something like, "Hey, Reaganomics."
Oh, I missed that. Reagan keeps following us.
All the time. The mom yells out, "No!" because she forgot the extra virgin olive oil. David offers to go to the store to get some. Trudie interrupts and offers to go instead. The mom instead says Richard, the dad, whose name we now know, will drive and David can go with him.
We learn that Trudie's full name is Gertrude Marie Chandler, as her mom shouts at her.
Richard and David are driving while Katie fixes Trudie's hair and defends herself against her mom's slut shaming. She also wonders how Trudie hooked up with Nick. Mom says the dad has taken a liking to Nick. So, as a reminder, her family thinks this is a man named Nick. His name is actually David. I use David for most of this, except for when the family's talking about him. Richard stops at the same gas station from before, and David tries to tell the owner he was kidnapped, but the owner just thinks it's part of the wild weekend in the woods. And again, I wrote, I cannot believe this is an ABC Family movie. Richard gets the olive oil and makes a joke about how something can be an extra virgin. And then he kind of like grabs David on the shoulder and gives him a little shake. And the owner misinterprets the innuendo and thinks David is also hooking up with Richard.
Yep, Richard says, got a little woman at home, loves to have everything lathered up in oil. Not that I'm complaining, that's the best thing about the holidays. Right, son? As he pats Nick / David's back.
It's so uncomfortable. Back at the cabin, Grandma arrives and is very grumpy. Richard and David are leaving the gas station, but David runs back in, saying he's not leaving until the owner helps him. Instead, the owner pulls a shotgun on him and makes him leave.
There's not going to be any trouble in my store, super freak.
Super freak! Super freak!
Richard and David are driving back, and David tries to grab a hold of the steering wheel. Richard puts him in a chokehold and continues driving.
I know relationships can be suffocating at times, but it'll pass.
Again, we can't get into the fact that no one in the family is taking any of this seriously. Psychopathy probably runs. There's probably a genetic component.
Probably.
Everyone is back at the cabin. David splits his pants and gets introduced to Grandma.
Grandma says, ooh, just like Paul Newman. Nice. Firm, as she stares at the rip in David's pants.
Also, apparently, an important point is that Grandma used to be an actress / Broadway actress. It gets brought up like twice, but it's said like we should just know this. Jake offers to give David some other pants. David spots Jake's cell phone in his room and asks to borrow it to make a call. He hides in the bathroom, but Grandma knocks on the door to hurry him up. He tries calling Jessica, but it goes to voicemail. Who is his fiance? I don't know if I said that. So instead, he tries her mom, Mrs. Barber, who is relaxing by the side of the pool. Mrs. Barber doesn't listen to him and is more interested in yelling at her maid, who keeps scooting her martini glass further and further away, causing Mrs. Barber to fall out of her lounge chair.
They / Jessica have managed to get to somewhere very nice and tropical instead of Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, maybe they're so rich they can afford their own climate.
Yeah, a climate
It's
indoor
a
pool that
greenhouse.
I mean, it almost has to be that way given the setting.
Trudie looks for Nick, and Jake says he's on the phone. David finally gets through to Jessica, who yells at him. Trudie finds David in the bathroom and bangs on the door.
Grandma says Daisy May has been in there primping for 10 minutes.
Jessica is still yelling at him. David is telling Jessica about being kidnapped, but she doesn't believe him until he says he was going to propose to her yesterday, and it pulls back on her outfit. And I just had such nostalgia for that mid-2000s fashion. She asks if he's serious. He hangs up and comes out of the bathroom. Trudie grabs the phone and flushes it. David admits he did call someone, but until he is rescued, he's going to help her. He's going to be the best boyfriend ever, so he'll enjoy it that much more when the family learns the truth. David is giving Richard golf swing lessons by putting his arms around him and helping him swing. Only that gas station owner had walked in then. They talk about business while Trudie and her mom decorate the tree. They all make fun of Trudie's life choices and her imaginary friend from when she was little. They give David the honor of putting the angel on the tree, which is usually Trudie's job, and she has a meltdown over that. The family is now playing football in the snow, but pretty badly, and Trudie watches them from inside. Everyone is eating pie and drinking. I wanted to assume hot chocolate, but without Mom, I'm betting there's whiskey in that cup.
It's boozy eggnog.
100%. Trudie's mom asks David to read The Night Before Christmas. Trudie has had enough and leaves. David goes to see what's wrong. Trudie and David have a moment in the bedroom where she admits that her family likes him better than they like her.
They're fawning all over you like the last piece of filet mignon.
They come back downstairs and David reads the story. Trudie starts to smile as she watches him. Trudie, Mom, and David are in the kitchen. Mom starts putting out cookies and milk for Santa and tells them to write letters to Santa. Mom leaves and David eats the cookies, and then we get the debate about if you're a dunker or a twister of Oreos. Trudie gets out wine for them to drink while writing their Santa letters.
A federal offense probably puts you on the naughty list this year, David reminds Trudie.
David wants a fully loaded SUV and pasta machine. Trudie wants an end to global warming. David has everything he wants. Trudie's list has "stop disappointing my parents" on it. Not doing good on that so far. David blatantly lies and says Trudie's parents are good people. Trudie remembers her favorite Christmas when her parents made up for her missing a figure skating recital. David stares out in the snow and thinks about this story. Jessica arrives at the police station where everyone is partying and ignoring the phones. She yells to get their attention, and she reports the kidnapping.
Excuse me, there is a concerned citizen here who needs help from her civil servants.
Also, it's much later after she got that phone call.
Well, she might have had to hop on a plane from wherever tropical she was to get back to Wisconsin.
You couldn't go to the local police station and say, hey, call up to Wisconsin. Maybe she needed to change her outfit. Grandma starts drinking early in the morning when everyone is in the kitchen.
I have to spend another day trapped with you yahoos. Mama's gonna need some help.
Mom gives everyone assignments. Trudie and David's assignment is to go outside and have fun. They're getting on their coats, and David stares at Katie's butt as she stretches. He calls out Trudie for being jealous. They play hockey on a patch of ice, and Trudie falls down a lot. They walk along the river and talk about art and architecture, and David reveals he was orphaned at 9 and grew up poor. Now they're playing chess inside. David wins and starts messing with Trudie. She kind of apologizes for kidnapping him. They walk into the kitchen, and Jake calls them out for being under the mistletoe, so they are forced to kiss.
Gasp.
Which I'm like, we're just adding to the list. It wasn't just a kidnapping charge anymore. It was like kidnapping, false imprisonment, sexual assault now. Like, we can add on the charges. Jessica takes the police officer to the diner. Taj, the owner, denies knowing anything.
This very special Christmas special today is delicious ho-ho-ho hot dog.
You know, if you put some relish on ketchup on it and make it red and green. Trudie asks her mom if it's time to open presents, but her mom is disassociating while folding her husband's underwear.
Sometimes I have dreams that hundreds of pairs of underwear envelop me.
There's an awkward sex talk moment, and then mom snaps out of it because it is time for presents. David is cleaning up by the chessboard and finds a book of Trudie's art. Everyone is opening presents, and Trudie quietly asks Jake if there's anything wrong with their mom because Trudie thinks she's unhappy. David gets a back scrubber, Trudie gets another pink sweater, Jake gets a tie, and Katie gets a book of law firms, Richard gets underwear, and Mom gets a wrench set. And Grandma gets a #1 or best grandma in the world mug, something like that. Which for such rich people, these are terrible gifts.
Shows the disconnect between all of them, though.
There's one last gift for Trudie, a briefcase for the job she didn't get. They have an uncomfortable discussion about her career choices, and David speaks up and defends her painting.
Her paintings are raw and expressive, complex, and a little strange, but beautiful as he speaks through his Stockholm Syndrome.
Her art just really touched him. Art is so powerful, Sky.
Touche, touche.
He then gets down on one knee and proposes with the ring from earlier. Everyone is shocked, and Trudie says yes. Everyone hugs, Mom giggles. They leave Trudie and David alone. She thanks him, and he says he saw her paintings. She actually apologizes for real this time for kidnapping him. He admits it hasn't been that bad. He just has to last through Christmas dinner, and then Trudie will take him home tomorrow. Trudie goes to throw away garbage and finds Jake drinking by himself. She joins him, and he admits that he broke up with his girlfriend 6 months ago, and now he's dating a man. He's going to tell everyone at dinner. Is that the kind of announcement you want to make at a Christmas family dinner that's already kind of tense and awkward and terrible?
Why not, if it's already tense and awkward and terrible? Also, how often do these people actually get together?
That's true. It seems like not often. David comes into the dining room and sees keys and cell phones beneath a bear head, and Grandma is escaping. He runs after her and gets in the car with her.
I'm going back to the city to get a steak and a decent cognac, she says.
She starts driving and immediately runs into a snowdrift. Jake and Trudie hear this and run out to rescue them. Police officers arrive at Lucy's house and ask where Trudie is. She's in the middle of some sexy Christmas shenanigans and tries at first to say she doesn't know. Trudie walks in on a shirtless David in the bathroom. It's very tense. They stare at each other. She eventually leaves and sighs outside the door. He looks in the mirror and sighs. He didn't see her shirtless. What is he sighing over? He's just like sighing over his own abs.
Yeah, his dimples.
Trudie finishes getting dressed for dinner. And oh my gosh, how many times did I wear an outfit almost exactly like this, including with the little like shrug jacket? Oh, A+. Love it. David says he wants to show her something and takes her out to the gazebo. He hands her ice skates and tells her to put them on. She laces up and he turns on lights. And I was like, when did he do all of that? When did he have time?
It's true, because presents were at 4 p.m. We know dinner is at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't hear this story until earlier in the day.
Grandma's gotten into a tiny fender bender. He's had time to shower post doing this. She's also showered post doing this. So who knows? Super speed.
We could maybe be generous and say Jake helped. I don't think Katie would be a helper. Yeah, I don't know when he had time to do all of that. He tells her he wants to see her skating routine. So someone who is definitely Melissa Joan Hart skates around the gazebo with a lot of jumps in that routine. Literally, that whole routine was just jumps.
Oh, that stunt double's wig didn't even look remotely like how MJH's hair was styled.
And like at the very end, they like zoom in on her slow motion spinning face. And I'm like, this is a terrible shot. You can tell this isn't her. It's so bad. I'm like, we couldn't just have Melissa Joan Hart on like a lazy Susan turning around. Come on. There's a better way to shoot this. Everyone sits down to dinner. They raise their glasses for Mom's annual toast, but she doesn't give one. Jake has something he wants to say instead, but so does Katie. She isn't going to law school. She dropped out last semester. She used the tuition money to put a down payment on a Pilates studio in California. Honestly, in 2006, a Pilates studio in California, girl would have made a ton of money if she kept it open for a few years. Dad is mad, but Mom just laughs. Jake then announces that he's gay. Mom laughs again and says she knows. Richard yells at her, and we finally find out her name is Catherine, and they have a daughter named Katie. That's my least favorite part of this movie.
That they have a daughter named Katie when
And
her name's
Catherine has a daughter named Katie.
I mean, it's basically doing the juniors, right?
I hate that stuff too. No, give your kids their own identity. She rants about all the things she hates about him.
I hate the way you moan when you chew your food. I hate that we never talk about anything important. Later on, she says, if this was my world, I wouldn't have to picture Clint Eastwood to get through our annual birthday sex.
And then Richard returns the favor.
His best line in all of this is, you are the puppet master and I'm your little clown. Boo!
There's a lot more yelling.
Grandma to Jake during this yelling says, aren't you glad you're gay?
And then the police burst in with guns drawn. They accuse Trudie of kidnapping. Her parents defend her, but Trudie admits that it's not Nick, it's David, and he's not her boyfriend. Grandma has a gun and pulls it on the cops.
I don't know who brought home the bacon, but I'm going to fry it up in a pan.
David goes over to her and takes the gun from her and hugs her as she sobs about how she used to be on Broadway. And I feel like the actor part of Grandma's storyline had a bigger part and it all got cut.
Maybe.
Everyone is in a jail cell together except David. Trudie tries to talk to her parents, but they won't engage. The police officer lets all of them go because David didn't press charges. Is that call up to David at this point with the number of offenses that are stacked against Trudie? I think the DA can just be like, I don't care if you don't want to press charges, we're going forward.
I guess at that point, how much substantial evidence is there if he won't provide any?
I was going to say they could ask the gas station guy, but I don't think that would help very much.
Nope.
So they're all free, but for some reason, Grandma isn't.
Policeman says, not you, Grambo. Grandma says, ooh, officer, what do you have in mind?
Am I insane? Or did we never come back to this?
We did not.
Okay.
Grandma's not at the very end either, you'll notice.
What happened to Grandma? I was like, oh, maybe we're going to get the actress storyline back and it's going to be like, I want you to sign a headshot for somebody who's a fan. This is the end of Grandma's storyline. There's nothing more. Trudie gets all of her belongings back, including the engagement ring. She leaves the police station wearing her third or fourth coat of the film and finds David standing outside waiting for her. She thanks him for not pressing charges and gives back the ring. He tries to tell her something, but Jessica shows up and drags him away. We skip forward a couple months to Valentine's Day. Trudie is sitting in the diner and her coworker gives her lunch for free. Trudie apparently has been searching for a job this entire time, and it's not going well. She hasn't heard from David either. She thought she had feelings for him. She picks up the newspaper and there's an engagement announcement for David and Jessica. David and Jessica are doing wedding planning at her parents' house. He stares at place cards with Mr. and Mrs. David Martin written on them in different fonts. He excuses himself to get some air and finds the maid smoking outside in a wedding dress and veil. Jessica tells him to come back inside.
I love the maid so much.
David asks Jessica if she ever has doubts about them. She says they make sense and they're going to have a fairy tale wedding and fairy tale life. Trudie is eating Oreos and milk in her apartment and she dunks the cookie instead of twisting it.
Ooh.
Character growth. Jake calls her and asks if she's talked to her parents. He tells her to call them. And I was like, oh, because they're getting divorced? Like, I figured that's what the news was going to be. Trudie opens up some mail while talking, and she's been accepted into a gallery show.
Jake has a plate of sushi sitting next to him, which is fine, except for there's also a very hot fire roaring next to that plate of sushi.
Sometimes you want your outside to be warm and your inside to be cool.
Sometimes you want food poisoning.
Oh, as long as it's not there for like hours, it's going to be fine. Trudie is at her show, which includes a painting of a girl skating around a gazebo. Jake joins her with his new boyfriend, and he also brought the rest of the family, except Grandma. Trudie hostilely greets her family, and her parents are receptive. They've been in therapy. So she unleashes all of her pent-up feelings in the middle of this art show, and her parents are just okay with it and say they love her.
Her mom says something to the effect of keeping open lines of honest communication is the only way to restore a healthy relationship. I think divorce is the way to restore anything between you two, Mom and Dad Chandler.
Like, when I seen divorce, and when they didn't say divorce, I was like, maybe they've opened up the marriage. Like,
maybe.
if this was in 2025 instead of 2006, they probably would have opened up the marriage. Someone bought Trudie's painting. She feels conflicted about it and tells her mom David got married today. So I think this is like maybe March, because she saw the announcement on Valentine's Day. Do you think this is like a couple months later then? Because it looked warmer outside, didn't it? Or was it still cold? Was she still in a coat?
She saw the announcement Valentine's Day. When Jake called her, the gallery was opening a week later. It was like very
But was the
quick
phone call
turnaround.
on Valentine's Day? That's unclear.
We can say it's like a week after, so that
Okay.
this show is start of March. Why not?
Trudie leaves the show and someone grabs her, putting a blindfold on her. It's David.
Payback. It's a bitch, he tells her.
But he's supposed to be on his honeymoon. He leads her somewhere and takes off her blindfold. Everything he wants is right here, and he shows her Martin Art and Architecture, Gallery and Studio. This is where I start getting like real concerned about how this movie's going to end. He then reveals he bought her painting. He kisses her. Trudie asks if he can take off the fuzzy handcuffs now. And they kiss some more. And I was really glad that's where it ended, because I was really worried he was going to propose. Because I'm like, you spent 48 hours with this girl? Already it's problematic that he spent 48 hours being kidnapped by this woman, and he tracked her down, bought her painting, and is now like making out with her. That's also problematic. It would have been far more problematic had he proposed to her at the scene.
It's that rapid onset Stockholm syndrome. Everyone's a little kooky and crazy and need to see therapist.
I will kind of buy the concept that you meet somebody who so changes the way you view your life that things you thought you wanted, you kind of realize that's not what you want anymore. I will kind of accept that could happen in a short time frame, especially if you already had those thoughts deep down and it just kind of like pulls them out of you. The 48 hours kidnapping two lovers storyline. Or maybe this really is his payback and now he's going to murder her and chop her up.
Ooh.
This is where the Lifetime movies start.
And hide parts of her body and all the architecture he's going to build.
It's a perfect cover up. Oh boy. All right. Any last thoughts on this guy?
What a movie.
It's so wild.
I'm glad we ended up watching it. I'm glad it was recommended to us.
I'm very glad we watched this. I did have a thought around the point where David comes out in the dad's clothes And I kind of giggled to myself because in Saved by the Bell, he always calls the main character, he always calls him Preppy. That's what his character calls Mark Paul Gosselaar's character. And so when he came out in the dad's clothes, I was like, haha, Preppy. Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad we watched it. That was not what I had expected by any means going into this.
I mean, with a title like Holiday and Handcuffs, how many directions can you go?
Oh, my thought was that this was like two people who accidentally got handcuffed together and like couldn't find the key. Like, I think that's what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be like a sociopath is kidnapping a man, taking him to the middle of the woods. What is our next episode after this one, Sky? Is it Sabrina Goes to Rome?
Yeah, Sabrina Goes to Rome.
Okay. In the meantime, please like, share, rate, and subscribe to this podcast. You can email us at somethingwhatshepod@gmail.com. Until next time.
Stay magical.